ranks, which are often linked to poor diet quality. And UW and WSU are being investigated by the Federal Department of Education for alleged racial discrimination. They're looking into the school's partnership with a program designed to help underrepresented students get their doctorates. The investigation fits with the White House's effort to eliminate DEI programs, which it says discriminate against white and Asian American students. In our last story, University of Washington researchers have come up with a potential new tool to fight antibiotic-resistant bacteria. They've discovered a method to synthesize amino acids, the basic components of proteins, to disrupt the structure of harmful bacteria. This makes bacteria more susceptible to antibiotics. The researchers are developing a process to coat medical gauze with the stuff to prevent wound infections. You can check out our KCHW Radio Facebook page for more details on these stories. And for KCHW 102.7, I'm Chuck Ritchie.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Simon Gaitan. The Israeli military has carried out fresh airstrikes in Gaza a day after the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas collapsed. Tuesday's attacks on Gaza left more than 400 people dead, according to Palestinian health authorities. Giles Gibson reports from Tel Aviv.
Israel says it targeted a military site in northern Gaza and several vessels along the coast, which it claims were intended to be used for terrorist activities. Palestinian officials say the vessels were simply fishing boats. This is the second day of Israeli strikes since the Gaza ceasefire.
There we go.
We're having a morning. Right, Chuck, you see the red clothes.
Wait, hold on. Here we go. There we are.
All right, now.
Let's go.
Come on, boy.
I had to ride my horse around the block to get
A
in here.
few times.
Wow.
I had a conversation with the guy doing the barbecue over here.
He had his turkey in my way.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the KCHW Morning Show. We are live in the studio with myself, Chuck Ritchie. We have the ever lovely Sharon Ludwig and Paula Randall. And coming up in the second half of the show, we have everybody's favorite, what would you call him? Old-timey, homesteadery guy,
Yep.
Patrick Farneman.
Yep.
Excited to have him on.
Ancestral skills.
Thank you. That sounds much better than the way I put it.
Right? Old-timey guy? Yeah, probably
Yeah,
ancestral
that's
skills would be a better way to
Probably
put that.
much better, but a Renaissance man of sorts.
That's-
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
sure.
He's doing all kinds of stuff with between the rivers gathering. It does some really cool stuff. A blacksmith. Him and his wife own Black Sheep, and now the Apple Barn in Kettle Falls, which is really exciting.
Very cool.
We need to get her on the show later as well. 'Cause
Yeah, that
she's-
would be-
Are you okay for this, Sharon? Sharon's,
The microphone, the thingy dropped to the floor. Now we're, the
Sharon's,
doohickey with the what's-its and the...
Sharon's getting violent over here. She's throwing stuff on the floor.
Well, you can't see me.
Yeah, you can't see her,
You
so
can't
it's
see
okay.
me, so you don't know.
It's Chuck and Chuck. It's
Our
the Chuck
cameras
and
aren't
Chuck
working.
show.
Dogs and cats living together.
Absolute
pandemonium.
chaos.
So good morning, ladies. How are you doing today?
Now we're fine.
We are doing well. I
Yeah.
have my water. I have my coffee. We're live finally. I don't know how many times we listen to the news.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I don't know how that played again, but somehow it just started playing right over again. But that's okay
Well,
because
you
we're here
know,
now.
Computers have minds of their own.
Especially this one. I think it has split personalities
Ah.
because some
Wah,
Yeah.
wah.
some days it's a little more cooperative than others. But right now the second computer is not cooperating with the camera, so we will go ahead and muddle. I'm trying to even at least get my face off, and it won't even take my face off. So
Nope, you're doubled. People are going to be like, I see Chuck and Chuck, and then more Chuck. There's lots of Chuck.
we're just stuck there, I guess, for now. I could go to this other one here. It has a picture of the wall.
Yeah, which is very exciting. Cause
Super exciting.
We have stuff. It's not as attractive as it could be.
No, it's not. It's kind of junky over there.
Yep.
We still got some stuff left over there from the show a couple weekends ago. I haven't had a chance to clean it up yet.
It's all good. That was an epic show.
It was a great show.
Was
It
so
really
good.
was. So we're going to switch back over to myself with two cameras.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the weather forecast. Of course, brought to you by 49 Degrees North Mountain Resort. Do you want to take us away in the weather?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Today, Wednesday the 19th, we have a high of 49 degrees, cloudy, with winds south-southeast at 5 to 10 miles an hour, with an evening at 37 degrees as our low, with the potential for rain. Rain showers will evolve into a more steady rain overnight. Lows 37 Fahrenheit, winds light and variable. And then on Thursday, we have a high of 50, a low of 38. It says AM snow showers. What?
Probably not going to stick around very long,
Probably
though.
not going to stick around very long with those temperatures. Friday, the 21st, we have a high of 48 and a low of 32 with some showers. We have on Saturday, the 22nd, a high of 52, a low of 35, partly cloudy skies. We'll finally get to see some sun. And then on Sunday, the 23rd, we go back to 46 degrees as a high, 40 as a low, and rain, snow, showers. So it looks like that precipitation is going to be with us for several days.
Mm-hmm.
Monday, we have our first high. This isn't right. This isn't right.
It
Like
is
you're
right.
saying-
Don't
That
you
is-
believe the
that is
weathermen?
right.
They're not. They don't tell you lies.
Well, okay, Monday the 24th, it's saying a high of 61.
Yeah, keep looking down.
I did. That's why I'm like, this can't be right. A low of 41, mostly cloudy. Tuesday, the 25th, a high of 67, a low of 42, partly cloudy skies. Wednesday, the 26th, it is saying 70 degrees.
70 degrees.
That can't be right. With a low of 45, partly cloudy skies,
It-
21% chance of rain.
It is the end of March.
Spring is in the air.
Yeah,
Spring
but
is in the air.
70, I mean, wow.
But it's enough to tease you because look at what it's going to do after that. Go back
Right.
down.
It goes 10 degrees back down. Thursday,
Yeah.
the 27th, it goes down. It goes a high of 60 with a low of 38 and showers. And then anything I think forecast this far out is not really reliable, but it does take us back down into the 50s and the 30s.
But it stays in the 50s in the highs. It doesn't
And-
go any lower than
And
about
it doesn't
55.
have any that say freezing.
Nope.
We're staying above freezing finally.
Yeah.
So that'll be good because I think I'm done with the freezing.
Yeah.
I'd like
Yeah.
to start my plants, and I'd like to start, gardening and doing stuff. Did you see that wonderful hack where you save your milk cartons and you put your seeds in the milk cartons and then you just cover the top and then you have like a little mini greenhouse?
Yeah, I've seen those before.
You know what I like to use? Sometimes we'll go to, like, if you're go to a bigger store like a Walmart or something, go to the bakery and you can sometimes get them to give you extra cake containers, like the plastic cake containers with the tall clear lids.
Yeah.
Make excellent plant starters.
That is such
Yeah.
a good idea.
And you
That's a really good idea.
save your leftover egg cartons and fill them up with dirt, and then you put those inside the cake containers, and you just take a pair of scissors and snip out the
bottoms.
the bottoms of the eggs, and
Yeah.
you just plant the little egg container and all.
Yeah.
It does pretty well. Although sometimes the egg containers they keep their strength pretty well even when they're wet. So sometimes
Yeah.
you have to kind of break those up a little bit, or
Yeah.
the roots can't make it through.
Well, I have tomatoes that are up about that high.
Oh, already? See, we need to get our
man.
stuff planted.
I have not gotten anything planted. I want to get my pumpkins planted.
Well,
I don't
you
even
can't.
have any seeds yet.
You can't plant outside until.
No,
we
but
never plant outside till Memorial Weekend.
it's
You
time
have
to
a
get your
garden?
seeds started.
You have a greenhouse?
I do, but right now my seeds are under grow lights in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. All right. So what about
All
the
right.
rest of the weather conditions up on
Yeah,
the mountain for
yeah,
our
so if we-
49 degrees mountain resort weather and news?
Weather and mountain condition
Mountain
report.
conditions,
Mountain
yes.
news.
Mountain
Mountain news. That sounds like something we need to have Patrick here for. The mountain news.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So we have a snow depth at the base of the mountain of 71 degrees.
Inches, not
71
degrees.
inches. Thank you. A snow depth of 71 inches. I almost said it again.
Right?
No new snow in the last 24 hours. 25 degrees currently with 0 to 3 mile an hour winds. Good visibility. No precipitation and clear skies. It's early today. I don't know if you noticed this. I haven't had any coffee yet. It's still too hot to drink.
Oh my
Yeah, so-
gosh.
At the summit, we have a snow depth of 178 inches with 0 snow in the last 24 hours. Current temperature of 21 degrees, 0 to 3 mile an hour winds with good visibility, no precipitation, and clear skies once again. Surface conditions are listed as groomed with packed powder, tracked powder, and pockets of untracked powder. 90 trails are currently open. 33 of those have been groomed. For more information about those mountain conditions or events happening at 49 Degrees North Mountain Resort, you can visit ski49n.com. There we go.
Definitely.
And we're going to talk about one of those things that's coming up when we talk
Yeah.
about our local roundup.
We are. There's some fun stuff happening everywhere this weekend.
Everywhere.
Stuff
They got over 10 inches over the weekend.
they did. They got a ton of snow.
Yeah, they got
Yeah.
totally done. Because last time we were talking about the summit depth, it was like, what, 167?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
at least a foot of snow over the weekend.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and it could have been more than that because when you think about it packing down,
Right.
that's the depth, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of it melts and some of it packs, and that's like you think about that. That's like lots of feet.
That is.
you know.
Well, with how much it was snowing, they had that dinner planned. It got
Yeah.
canceled.
Dinner got canceled. Yeah.
But with
no
the
labyrinth.
way it was snowing, it's probably safety wise not a bad thing.
I
that
agree,
happened.
actually. I was looking at that because they posted a wonderful video with just the snow blowing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. But I'm like, I have to set up a labyrinth and in that. And yeah.
Because knowing me, I would have driven my Prius up there and yeah.
Right?
There are days when the weather's good and I still have a hard time getting up there in that thing.
I
so.
know.
Yeah.
See? Oh,
Yeah.
very good. It was
I
a
didn't
good
know
thing.
it was canceled.
It was. They ended up, instead of doing the dinner, they ended up doing an afternoon brunch. And it was supposed to be out on the deck, but of course they were snowing. I mean, it was
Wow.
unbelievably gorgeous up there.
Yeah.
And so they moved everything inside, but Craig was up there with his band and they were playing music. And yeah, so instead of a dinner, they went ahead and did a lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Very
it
nice.
worked
And
out.
they must have phone numbers or text numbers for everybody so they can let them know.
No, Craig. Craig is the savior. Craig was up there because we talked to Craig on Friday
Mm-hmm.
during the morning roundup. And Craig, I said, oh, Craig, are you going to play for the dinner as well? And he said, no, I'm just booked for the afternoon. And so when he went up to play for the afternoon, he said, oh, and I hear you're doing a dinner. Do you have somebody playing for the dinner? And they're like, oh, it's canceled and we forgot to let her know.
Wow.
Oh my.
Wow.
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 So, yeah, so wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. They had to change their plans at the last minute and, completely understand that, I'm just some crazy lady who shows up with a whole bunch of lights,
Wow.
Well, weather can make such a difference.
Yes.
Like we talked about last week, spring sports,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and winter sports and winter, weather
Well-
just really makes a difference.
Absolutely.
Speaking of food and weather, tell us
Yes.
whether or not the food they're having at the school will be good.
Well, of
Oh,
course,
man,
we always
sorry.
have our breakfast with our rotating breakfast sandwiches with fruit or juice, or they can have a fruit breakfast parfait with granola, fruit, or juice, or they can have a variety of cereal with a cheese stick or yogurt with fruit or juice, and they can have bread or a muffin with a cheese stick or yogurt and fruit or juice, and of course, a milk variety is offered daily, probably like chocolate milk, strawberry milk, raspberry milk, broccoli milk.
Milk scampi,
And
fried
then,
milk.
right? And then for lunch, I have to verify the 18th. Sharon is double checking me.
It's actually the
Ooh,
19th because
19th?
yesterday was the 18th.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, this is why you have to double check me here.
My wife it was like 9:00 last night, and she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna meet this person. I have a meeting at tomorrow and I'm like, "I thought you had that meeting on Tuesday." She's like, "Yeah, tomorrow, Tuesday."
And you're like, babe.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
She was a day off all day.
Well, today is going to be. I don't know if they're going to like this ham and potato soup.
Ooh, that sounds good to
Ooh.
me.
I think it sounds good to me, but if I was a kid, I'd be like, what is that?
If I was a kid, I'd be all over some ham and
Would
potato
you?
soup.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so
As a
ham and
kid.
potato soup, and they get a dinner roll. I'd be like, give me 5 with fruit or veggie, and again, milk variety offered daily.
There better be a big bowl of soup.
Right?
You know,
Yeah, I was going
not
to say
one
for
of those
lunch.
just little skimpy
Those
things.
little, yeah, that would,
Yeah.
With a good crusty bread.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that goes like that when you break it open.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it makes a big mess everywhere.
Yeah, the little crumbles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Speaking of recipes, I had a lemon drop cookie recipe that I really wanted to make, and now I can't find it.
Oh, you better
Oh.
find it and then
I
make
know.
them and then bring them in here.
Well, I wanted to
we
make
can-
them
we can eat
for
'em.
Friday.
okay.
Because Friday is the spring equinox, and
Mhm,
so
mhm.
we're gonna celebrate at my house and do something fun. And I wanted to have those lemon drop cookies as part of our celebration because it's light. It's not heavy. Spring is light foods and
So
stuff.
have you put your recipes in your computer?
Okay, there's your logic again, Sharon. I'm just saying.
Oh, I have some in my computer. Not all of them, but some.
So what I've started doing is we have a Google file with recipes, and my wife, she has a bunch. She has two little recipe boxes, and they're full of cards, and a lot of those were handwritten by her grandmother.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Going
that.
from the 50s on up, and some of
Yeah.
them they're all written on like index cards, and there's hundreds of them. And what I've been doing recently is, as we make those recipes, I'll take a picture of it and put it in that file.
Oh, how
And,
that's
fun.
neat.
because
Yeah.
some of those, they're a little worse for wear, and
Yeah.
there's some of them that are getting kind of hard to read, and you can take a picture of them, and you can
they get all
enhance them
greasy
and-
from the
From
Oh,
the
yeah.
melt,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing, people can't read cursive. So Xander is learning cursive and trying to practice it. But boy, when he gets a letter from one of his aunties and they've written, of course, in cursive, he's like, every other word, he's like, I'm not sure what this is.
Oh yeah.
So having to transpose them into just regular,
Yeah. Yeah.
Someday it'll be a specialty course in ancient languages.
seriously,
But
right?
there's there is a computer program that translates, because I've got a friend who had a journal from a grandparent or something anyway, and he copied it and put it in the computer, and it translated into
I love that we
typed.
have to translate it.
translated
yeah.
the cursive. And so he's going through and double checking to make sure that it was right. But there's computer programs that do that now.
Very good. That's
I-
actually good to know.
We haven't brought them out yet. We got them when our kids were young, and we kept meaning to teach it to them, and we never did bring them out. I know exactly where they are still, but we have a set of 4. They are handwriting lesson books from about the 1850s,
Wow.
and they have that beautiful
Where
sort
you
of
scroll
yeah,
through. Yeah.
this
Remember
most
my
amazing
mother
handwriting.
doing that stuff. Yeah.
And my handwriting is absolutely horrible, and for years I've been wanting to like take the plunge and get in there, but it's gonna be like, I know
It's a
cursive, but
Yeah, it's a
It's-
steady process to
Yeah,
get
you'll have to
better. Yeah.
relearn.
my cursive still looks exactly the way it did in 3rd grade, about the last time I used it. Yeah.
Oh, how
Yeah.
funny.
All right, so let's go ahead and get on to our events here, because we are
Okay.
going to be pushing it for time.
Yeah.
Yes, and we have lots of stuff going on.
We do.
Tons of stuff.
Although today is just our ordinary pickleball from 9 to 11:30 at the old middle school gym.
This is the soft pickleball, right?
And yeah, especially for
beginners.
beginners.
Yeah.
So they don't take it out on you as they do on Mondays and Fridays.
Hi-ya!
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And this evening is bingo at Fired Up Pizza from 6 to 7. And I don't have anything else for Wednesday, the 19th.
You know what? It is our fantastic, exciting city council meeting tonight at 6:30.
Oh, that's right. If
Wednesday,
you want
Wednesday,
to be
Wednesday.
entertained, you might want to
Wednesday,
go
Wednesday,
to that.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
I keep saying the theater should loan that popcorn maker to the city council for Wednesdays.
Well, people would start throwing the popcorn.
Oh yeah, they're not that bad.
Yeah.
They're not that bad.
No, but they are eye rolling sometimes.
I'm gonna be there tonight. It's gonna be
Ooh,
fun.
fun.
Okay.
It'll be
And-
fun because I'm gonna
you're
be there.
there.
Yeah.
Yes,
We're gonna have a
yes.
good time.
Yes. And it does say on the community calendar that the Winterfest for the arts meeting is today. Is that on? Because if you want to be part of not Winterfest but Summerfest, are they having a meeting?
Yes. Yep.
Because you can just show up. What is
It's
it?
1 o'clock. 1
1
o'clock
o'clock,
at the city
yeah.
council meeting or city council
Chambers.
chamber.
Yeah, yeah, and they have had just people show up that
Mhm.
have ended up really helping, like Winterfest and
Yeah.
the dog sled guy and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So that's if you want to do that. Okay, so Thursday, Oasis karaoke with DJ JD from 8:30 to 11:30 p.m. and line dancing at the Chula Senior Center, and that's all I have for Thursday.
Oh, and it's the senior citizens potluck and game.
Yep.
This is where senior citizens from Chula Valley and Springdale are invited to join on the first and third Thursday of each month for games and potluck. This happens from 10 to
How
3
come I
p.m.
took it off of
at the
there one?
Valley Fire Department building.
All
And
right.
don't forget, Thursday is always Food Bank Day from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Senior Citizen Center at 302 East Main. If you need help, if you need some extra food, go down there. They set you up and they really make sure that you have food that will last the month. They'll give you a lot of food. They also are doing their food drive right now. So if you have any extra food, you have some non-perishables that you'd like to donate, or even some cash, everything helps, even if it's only $5. Go down to the Chewelah Food Bank from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Let them know that you're making a donation, and help out your fellow community members, because everybody should be able to eat.
Yeah, the cash is especially needed when they get low in one area. Then they can purchase, and you can still help feed families with a variety.
Yeah, the food you donate's nice, but the cash fills in the holes and completes balances everything
Exactly. And then on Friday, we start the day with the Chamber of Commerce out at 7 o'clock out at the casino.
Another exciting barn burner.
Yes, and they are kind of exciting. You find out what's going on and what all different organizations are doing in their organization. Then adult pickleball from 9 to 11:30 at the old middle school gym. That's in the morning. Fired Up Pizza all ages karaoke with Leah instead of Cry. I see on Craig's Facebook page.
Yes.
And then Friday night is, let's see.
Friday.
Yeah. Is Troop 998, which would be a scout troop with that number, is having a taco dinner. They have some kind of dinners almost every Friday, but we don't always find out what they are until Thursday.
Well, now we know on Wednesday.
Now we know on Wednesday that this Friday, the 21st, from 5:30 to 7:30, and if they're like any of the other dinners at the Legion, you want to get there early because they can run out of food, even though they make plenty. And the proceeds go to Troop 998 for Scout activities. And if you're ever had a kid in Scout, you know that they do so many activities. They need to have the support.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that, because they go camping. My son, when he was in Scouts, they went camping every single month. And our guest today, Patrick Farneman, was one of the ones that would take them out on winter camping, too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and built igloos and all kinds of stuff,
We didn't have enough snow this year to build igloos.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, well, they would have had to go up on the mountain.
Yeah, because our son, he built an igloo in the backyard and put a candle in it and slept overnight in it. Had a rug in it. It was
I love
great.
Are they like proper igloos or snow shelters? Because
it was probably a show. Well, he tried to do it with the blocks.
Yeah.
But we don't have that kind of snow around here very often.
It doesn't really pack down that much, and by the time it is packable, it gets kind of just hard.
Yeah.
You know what?
But you
I
probably
have
could
friends
with
who have
enough
done
work.
it. Yeah, is that they save the same container every week. Like if you get milk in the cardboard or you get it in the jug, they would save it. And so by the end of the season, they had a whole bunch of them. And then when it got freezing temperatures, they would fill them with water and put them outside. And that's how they would build their igloo blocks.
Oh, nice.
And they would all have consistent sizes so that everything would stack the same way. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Well, I do know when because I've done it before. I've gone on in high school. We did a week-long winter camp out. It was below zero.
Oh, wow.
With a big group of high school kids camping with no tents.
Oh,
That's
my.
awesome.
It was intense. It was intense.
Yes, that was very good.
Yeah.
A play on words.
But
here.
the worst part about the snow shelter, it does get very, very warm in there. Like the body heat of two people inside a small snow shelter will get it up to room temperature, get it up to about 70 degrees.
Nice.
But the problem is if
Then
you
it
don't,
drips, it melts
if you don't remember to raise your bed up that night, like we didn't, or not raise it up enough, you wake up in the morning surrounded by snow and ice, completely
Ooh.
soaking wet.
Oh my gosh,
And
that would be miserable.
It was a little miserable, but
Yeah.
stuff still dries out when it's that cold.
So
Yeah.
also Friday up at the Boomtown Bar, Scary World from noon to 4.
Mhm.
And on Saturday is Hawaiian Days at 49 degrees north. And that's a celebration of their ski patrol. They are going to have pond skim. That sounds like they're trying to ski across a pond.
They are.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. They
Yeah.
have a little bit of they have a man-made pond, and you try to get across it.
Uh-huh. And snow golf and costume contest, a silent auction, poker run, scavenger hunt, a party on the deck all day long with live music. Their famous Hawaiian burgers and more, served with your favorite pint of beer. And just go to ski49degreesnorth.com and you can find that event. In fact, Paula's got pictures of it on there of the previous ones, and isn't that interesting?
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Look at this guy. He's going for it. He's
Yeah.
in his shorts and a Hawaiian shirt.
Well, he doesn't want to get all of his good clothes wet.
Right, yeah,
And
that's true.
These, they're going to get soaking if they don't get
Completely.
across.
Nope, they didn't get across.
Yeah, and same with
Look
this
at-
guy.
yeah. Whoa! I like this person. It looks like they're in a cow outfit.
So also on Saturday, because Saturday is it's almost like a festival day.
Mhm.
Yep, there's
Big-
so much going on.
Yeah, the Spring Home and Garden Show from 10
Yes.
to 3. And that's at Guess Elementary. And they have door prizes. Burgers will be prepared by the Chewilla Valley Lions Club and the Kiwanis.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the Spring Home and Garden Show is sponsored by the Chewilla Chamber of Commerce. And they are all filled up. And it should be a great show. And they're all home and garden related.
You know, and with the home and garden show, if you need,
Your contractors, yeah.
there have been years in the past. I know it's a pretty normal thing. If you need work done, if you need to hire somebody, and you don't get to them before or during that home show, they tend to fill up their schedules.
Oh, yeah.
If they're a contractor and they're at the home show, a lot of them, that's where they fill their schedules for the summer.
Well, and I'm hoping that there'll be somebody there who does dog grooming.
Mhm.
Because Maggie is retiring,
Yeah.
and she's been our dog groomer, and our little dog is getting pretty fluffy.
I
And
think
she's-
the lady who comes and does our nails, I think she does grooming.
Really?
Yeah, there's a
Oh.
lady that goes through, Colville and Springdale and Valley, and she comes and she's a little mobile dog trimmer and groomer.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
she's
need to
awesome.
know some names. I need that.
I will get her name
And-
to you. Yeah, because she's
Okay.
awesome. We can't, our corgi, oh my gosh, we can't get near his little toe beans. There's no way.
Okay,
She
'cause-
has to come and she brings her table and the little harness, and we hoist him in the harness.
Oh, that sounds really nice.
I've-
yeah.
Yeah, because I went online to check, and it pulls up Spokane Valley, pulls up Kansas, it pulls up, outer
Kansas?
Slavolia, all kinds of places.
Darling, I will hook you up. I will give you her name and her contact information. She comes right to your house.
Okay.
I
She
will
does,
give
she
you
does
her
a beautiful
info.
job with the nails.
Beautiful job. But they also put a little color on them if you wanted to. I got you covered.
Okay. Also, since we're having a big day, we're going to end the day with a murder mystery at Rusty Putter at the golf course
wah.
Ooh.
from 5 to 7.
Did you just wah wah wah?
I did.
That's usually like what you say when a joke is really bad,
Oh, no. Okay. Dun, dun,
There
dun.
you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
or just bum bum.
Right? The Vermilion Death. Death, death,
Yeah.
death, death.
And I understand there's a few tickets left, so contact the Rusty Putter and get your tickets.
Right.
Yeah.
You can get your tickets at Rusty Putter, or you can get them at the Chamber of Commerce. They're $40 each. And you guys know that I don't do anything small. Okay, I'm just gonna put it that way. This is gonna be epic. It's gonna be fully immersive. It's gonna be like you're going to an event. Show up. It's gonna be a blast. We have it all worked out. There will be drama. There will be murder, and you will help find out who done it.
But will there be mystery?
There will be mystery.
Okay, outstanding,
There'll be
outstanding.
mystery.
But most importantly, will there be food?
There will be delicious food.
Outstanding.
There will
Yeah.
be delicious food, great entertainment, really a lot of fun. You'll get to vote on who you think killed who's gonna die.
You almost said the name.
I know.
You almost said
Did you
it.
see me swallow it back?
Also on Saturday is Cougar Track at Valley Christian and Cougar Tennis at Medical Lake. Now, before you take off and go to Valley or Christian or go to Medical Lake, double check with a tennis player or a track player, because yesterday's baseball game was supposed to be at Northport or somewhere, and it was in Chewilla because their
Oh.
field wasn't ready.
Oh, yeah.
So if you had gone all the way out of town and all the way to
All the
where
way
you
out,
thought
yeah.
it was, and then they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's in Chewilla," you'd been disappointed and
Wow.
you'd missed the game, and both the baseball and the softball teams won yesterday.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good advice in general. Always check with a tennis player.
Yeah.
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 It's
All
a
right.
good habit to get into.
And
Yep.
I don't have anything else going on for Saturday.
That was like 8 things.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
then Sunday, of
Take a
course,
breath.
we have the All Ages Blues Jam.
hmm
Monday, we have pickleball.
Hard pickleball.
Yes. And the senior potluck that's on the fourth Monday from 11 to 1. We have Cougar tennis at home against Kettle Falls, and that's would be up at the tennis courts at the golf course.
Now, really quick, that potluck at the senior center, is that still happening? Because I'm not sure. Someone told me
Okay.
that it might not be happening, but that might be something you want to check with the senior center. In fact,
Okay.
that's a good idea. Check with the senior center. See
Check
if
with
they
the
need
senior center.
see if
Yeah.
they need any help. See if they got any activities going on you can go to. I know they've been doing the line dancing back again, right?
I was going to say, the
Have they not?
activities of the senior center, people are like, oh, I don't want to go to the senior center.
No.
They get to go on trips. They get to go and they get classes. They get speakers.
Do they have a website?
Let's find out.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Because that would be
That
real
would make
helpful.
too much sense.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and so also on Monday is, I said, tennis at home. And
Yep.
then Tuesday, we have Cougar baseball at home against Kettle Falls. JV baseball is at Kettle Falls. Now, that was a change on the first schedule they printed. The first schedule had the JV game on Monday. And so you need to be checking the schedule or checking with your ball players because it was changed from a Monday
Always
game
check with a
to-
tennis player.
Yeah.
Always check with a tennis player.
Even if you're going to baseball, huh?
You're kind of off your mic there a little bit.
Oh,
There
I'm
you go.
off my
Yeah,
mic.
yeah.
Okay, this
Okay.
is a
you go.
sterling endorsement for the Chewelah Senior Center. Clean restrooms and facilities. There you go.
And a nice
Hey.
place for meetings.
That alone is important.
Yeah. yeah.
I love it.
You know when you're traveling, you know who always has, and it's a weird thing, it's nationwide, who always has the cleanest bathrooms? And this is not an endorsement, just a commentary about the cleanliness of their bathrooms. McDonald's.
No.
Everywhere in the U.S. you go,
No.
the McDonald's have the cleanest bathrooms
I
for
disagree.
traveling.
I totally disagree.
Okay. Back to sports on Tuesday.
Arm wrestle over that one.
Soft-
Yes, sports.
softball home against Kettle Falls and Cougar golf at Quail Ridge. I have no idea where Quail Ridge is, but if you're a golfer, you would know where that golf course is.
Probably.
Because
Probably on Quail Ridge.
yeah, probably.
next to Pheasant Hollow.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it is.
And then on next Wednesday, a week from today. Now, this is something, if we've talked last week, we talked about volunteering and how important it is. Well,
Yes.
here's your opportunity.
Ooh.
There is an opportunity to, that's not the one. Volunteers needed. March 26th through the 29th, Stevens County Conservation District. They sell trees, and I've bought Christmas trees from them and planted them in my flower beds. And they're $1 a piece, and they take 10 years to grow. But
Oh, yeah.
I have several out there still, and we go out and cut a Christmas tree down out of a flower bed. Anyway, they need volunteers to pack trees and to help people pick up their trees that they've ordered. So
Nice.
I can't read any of that. Can you read any of that?
I once got a bunch of those, and I tried to plant them along the front of my yard by the street because that's where the sun always beats down on the side of the house.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Did you drive over them?
no, it was in a part of our yard. Again, I wanted them because it was shade, because that part is always in the sun no matter what time of the day it is.
Uh-huh.
Of course, it was too hot,
Oh.
so it completely
Because they
baked 'em.
normally come
Kill your tree. Yeah.
in like April, and it's coming in March.
And those
Right?
poor little trees, we left them in the 5-gallon buckets accidentally for like
No.
4 years, and they were doing great. Actually, they were thriving. They were doing good. And one year, I said, I'm going to plant these trees. We had them all lined up along the side of the house, and I put them in the dirt, and they died within a month.
Oh,
All of
well,
them.
these come bare root when
Yeah.
you pick them up, and so you
Well,
got to put them in the ground right
I
away.
put them
Right
in the
away.
buckets myself because
Oh,
we didn't
I
know
see.
where we wanted them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
So we put them in the 5-gallon buckets just so they didn't get
Yeah.
dried out, and then
Yeah.
they lived pretty happily in those 5-gallon buckets
So
for
does
years.
it say anything about?
It does. It says since 1976, 75, the Stevens County Conservation District has held a native tree sale for the community. They are excited to continue this program in spring of 2025 for their 49th year.
Isn't that amazing?
Isn't that
Yeah.
awesome? Their tree sales program could not take place each year without the generous help of the community members, and they are looking for some volunteers to assist. It's a great opportunity for master gardener trainees, students who need community service hours, and people who just want to know more about native plants. Awesome. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Very cool.
So,
One of the benefits to not having the camera on is I can turn this light on as bright as we need.
yeah.
It's like, woohoo.
And then there was something else I wanted to. What is this one? This says, there's an information next Wednesday, the 26th, at the Colville Public Library. So that means it's free to learn about prescribed burning. We are allowed to do some burning in the county, and so you can learn about prescribed burns, and that's an important thing to know because you don't want to start a burn on your property and burn down your barn.
Or is that an insult from your doctor? A prescribed burn?
Oh.
Dun.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway, Wednesday, March 26th from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Colville Public Library. I thought that was a good
That is
service.
cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. And then, of course, next weekend, we open Moana.
Moana,
Yes.
Moana.
Yeah. And that is going to be another one of those epic stage time shows, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, somebody says,
Nope.
Nope.
That was your machine going off there.
oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And tell us where to get tickets for that.
Oh, you can get tickets at Valley Drug and Acres, our two local wonderful outlets that help provide tickets for all kinds of events.
Thank you, Acres Drug and Valley Drug. Thank you so
Exactly.
much for holding the tickets for so many events.
Yes. And you can also buy them online on the stage, and I don't have that, but on all the posters that are around town, it tells us. Where does it say? Or you can go to Chewelah Center for the Arts webpage, click on Moana. It'll take you to a next page, and it has a click where you can click on buy tickets, and it takes you right there to buy the tickets. And so you can buy tickets. Yeah.
Very cool. No,
Right
it's
online.
working really well.
Yeah. And so, and if you were at the center, well, I know that you two were at the center last night. It looks like a zoo over there right now because we
Oh, it's awesome.
we got costumes everywhere, tables full of costumes. We got a boat that's being built. We've got
Right.
islands that are being built. Everything's on wheels. The kids are rehearsing with all this stuff. It's just going to be amazing.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. I was teasing Gail because she was sewing burlap. I'm like, I bet you never thought you were going to have to iron burlap. She's like, yeah, I never saw this coming. But, oh my gosh, they're so cute. The costumes are so cute. I'm still obsessed with the coconuts. I'm going to see
yeah.
the show like 15 times because of the coconuts.
I was watching his hook. Yeah.
Yeah, he was. I'm thinking, okay, now you've got to learn how to hold that hook so it doesn't look like you're hurting yourself. You know,
Right?
Yeah, it
And
was
is that-
kind of cute.
I don't know if they ordered that or if it was hand carved.
I
but it
don't
was
know
really
either.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
It's real wood.
yeah,
Ooh.
yeah.
But does it light up?
I don't
Now,
know.
Is it supposed to light up?
I don't know.
Yeah, like
is-
in Moana, it
But
lights up when he channels his energy.
Oh. I
Yeah.
know that the heart lights up.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, we've got other things coming that we'll talk about it again. You know, we've got Recycled
gonna
Art
say we
Show
need to talk
coming
about
up
the art show
April
coming up.
3rd. We have an evening of wine and poetry April 5th that the Arts Guild is doing.
Mm-hmm.
We have the citywide cleanup April 12th. And that's a good thing to know because you can bring, now this I am going to go into this one a little bit.
Okay.
You can bring appliances, tires, scrap metal, mattresses, car batteries, latex paint,
a big
and
deal.
furniture. Now, the latex paint alone, you can't put that in your garbage
Nope.
Yeah.
unless it's totally dried out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can buy an additive that you can put in paint that dries it out. But why do you want to buy that when you could take it free on April 12th and get rid of that half junky paint that you have?
Yeah, and
That's been
actually
in the garage.
mattresses are a big deal. If you've ever tried
Yes.
to get rid of a mattress, it's impossible. Nobody can take it as a donation because of the issue of bed bugs and all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's almost impossible to get rid of a mattress unless you drive it down to the dump. So
Or unless you're buying a new one that has the little caveat that they will take
they'll
away
take-
your old one.
exactly.
But, you might not always be buying new from someplace that will take your old. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's a cleanup day. They're going to clean up around town. They do some painting of some curbs. They're not going to do all of them because there's going to be some remodeling on 395, some
Yeah.
tearing up. So they're not going to be doing 395, but they have other things planned
Yeah.
that you can help.
Mhm.
Or if you can't get down there, clean up your own place.
yeah.
It's a city-wide cleanup day. So that's an important thing.
Why do I feel singled out there?
We were looking at you, Chuck. It's okay.
And then there's other things coming up in May. There's this citywide yard sale. I
Right,
don't
lots
have a
going
date
for
on
Mother's
that.
Day.
Yes.
The citywide yard sale is always the first Saturday in May.
Okay, I know, but is it?
It is. it
Because-
is the first Saturday. I've talked to Jared about it. It's the
Oh,
first
okay.
Saturday in May.
Yeah.
Okay. I will, because I know it's the Independent is the one who sponsors it, or, because it used to be I don't know if the chamber did it or somebody did it, and they just anyway, Jared took it over to
Yeah.
sponsor it.
Yeah.
So
First Saturday in May.
first Saturday.
Oh, and really quick, I have a couple of notices
Okay.
from the city.
Okay.
So the City Public Works Department will be flushing the water lines citywide. This doesn't include the airport or the golf course up there. This is happening Monday, March 31st through Thursday, April 3rd. It's going to start at 6:30 in the morning and continue throughout each day. They say the flushing could affect the water citywide. You might have water during the time, but it could be cloudy and rusty colored. We've all been there if you've lived here for long enough. That is because the sediment that is accrued in the bottom of the lines is getting flushed out. So if you have no pressure or low pressure, they ask you to please be patient. It could take about 15 minutes to half an hour for your water pressure to get back up again. If you encounter dirty water during this time, please avoid the use of ice makers, dishwashers, and washing machines.
And hot
Yeah.
water. You don't want your hot water tank to
Yeah.
fill up with
exactly.
the sedimented filled
Yeah.
water.
Exactly. And I like to say it's a good time. It reminds me to change my water filters in my home because I've got the whole home water filters. And that's a lot of stuff to get caught in your
Yeah.
water filters.
Yeah.
So it's a good time to change those water filters out.
Yeah. And I don't know if anybody else got the people who came to your door and dropped off a little slip,
Mm-hmm.
but the city has implemented a citywide text notification system, Nixle, to provide information on upcoming events, real-time updates, and advisories. So especially with the 395 project coming up, you might want to go to the cityofchihuahua.org website. They have the banner across the top, citywide text communication, sign up. I know on my little slip of paper, the link that they provided to sign up for Nexel didn't work, so I called and I got to talk to Vanessa
Nice.
and Annie and their new lady who thought I was a total nutcase because, of course, I call and I'm like, "Hi, it's Paula," and they're like, "Hi," and they're so excited, and the new lady was like, "Who are you?" I was like, "Oops."
Also, really quick, I'm sorry, I don't mean to rush
Yeah,
you, but
yeah,
we have Patrick waiting
Yeah,
out there
Patrick's
patiently
here.
in the
Okay,
theater.
I'll be quiet. But you can go and sign up and get all of the
Yeah.
information. It's on the city site, and you can go to www.nixle.com. Click resident, sign up and log in, create an account, and then you will get all of the city information. Okay.
Perfect. City
And this-
information like the Fall Chipper Days, which is
Yeah.
happening Tuesday, April 22nd, and Wednesday, April 23rd.
And that would be the spring chipper days, not the fall
Yes,
chipper days.
yes, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
But they would have that on there too.
Exactly.
They also have one of those kind of things for the school district, and I'm signed up for that, and I get all kinds of wonderful messages
Really?
Yeah.
for the school. Yeah.
Very cool.
So that's a nice feature.
Oh, goodness. I didn't
Oh well, we're not
Well, we're
through.
being
I didn't mean to hit
closed.
that.
All right,
Yeah.
we're
I was just
done.
waking up my
Okay.
mouse.
Yeah, that mouse, he just loves that music.
He does. All right.
I need to switch mics to one that you don't have to click to wake up. 'Cause it's always just on whatever the last thing I clicked. So,
Oh, too fun. All right, we're ready. Break.
all right, ready to take a break? We're gonna take a. Do you have anything else?
No.
I don't mean to rush you through, but we got Patrick out there waiting
I
patiently.
know.
and
Yes,
we're
yes.
running
No, we
late.
wanna
Yeah.
talk to Patrick.
Well, we started late,
We
so
did
we
start
just
late, having some technical difficulties this morning.
yeah.
Ooh,
Hopefully I'll
maybe
be able
he'll
to
teach
try
us
to
how to
get
make
those.
fire on air.
Ooh,
Yeah.
maybe,
During the
maybe.
break, maybe you can fix our little
Camera.
feed here, our camera.
I'm
feed.
gonna try.
Okay.
We may lose the feed on our internet feed, but hopefully that doesn't stop the stream. If it does, you might have to refresh your computer. But in the meantime, we're going to thank our sponsors, listen to some news, and we'll be right back with Patrick Farneman to tell us about all the cool, amazing things that he's doing right now in Chewelah. So
Yep.
lots of great stuff coming up. Come on right back. We are KCHW 102.7, Northern Lights Public Radio.
The Public News Service Daily Newscast, March the 19th, 2025. I'm Mike Clifford. President Vladimir Putin of Russia agreed for the first time Tuesday to a limited ceasefire that would stop strikes on energy infrastructure as long as Ukraine does the same. That for the New York Times, they report in a 2.5-hour phone call with President Trump, the Russian leader declined for now to agree to a broader 30-day halt in fighting that U.S. and Ukrainian officials had proposed. The Times notes the White House characterized the Trump-Putin meeting as a first step toward a broader peace, but privately, some administration officials acknowledge that Mr. Putin appeared to be stalling, agreeing to just enough to appear to be engaged in peace talks while pressing his advantage on the battlefield. We head next to Indiana, where lawmakers are considering a plan to block college students from using school-issued IDs to vote. Our Joe Ulori has the details.
GOP Senator Blake Doriot of Goshen says it will prevent fraud. Students argued the change will make voting harder. The proposal affects out-of-state students most, forcing some to travel home to vote. Manal Hussein, a junior at Indiana University, Indianapolis, says the bill creates unnecessary hurdles for students to cast a ballot.
And instead of empowering them to be civically engaged, this bill places unnecessary barriers in their way. Let's be clear that there is no evidence that student IDs are any less reliable than other forms of government-issued identification.
Senate Bill 10 removes public college IDs from the list of acceptable voter IDs. Right now, students can vote with school IDs if they register in the county where they cast ballots. The bill would require an Indiana government-issued ID instead.
And folks in Colorado who have low bank balances would be on the hook for an extra $225 a year if Congress votes to roll back a new rule that caps overdraft fees at $5.
The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the agency behind the new rule, recently lost its offices and all 1,700 workers as Doge, informally run by SpaceX and Tesla CEO Elon Musk, went to work remaking the federal government. Christine Chen-Zinner with Americans for Financial Reform says the CFPB is critical for protecting American consumers.
This is a law enforcement agency that protects everyday people when financial institutions cheat and defraud them. And in the short 14 years that it's been around, it has already recovered $21 billion for everyday people.
The CFPB was set to regulate X, Musk's social media site, as it rolls out financial transactions similar to PayPal and Venmo. After workers were sent home, Musk posted CFPB RIP. The financial industry also disagrees with the agency over what it calls aggressive policing of wrongful home foreclosures and credit reports, fraudulent credit card charges, and predatory junk fees. I'm Eric Galatas.
This is Public News Service. We head next to Iowa, where farmers are pushing back on a plan to make cuts to the popular agriculture checkoff program, which has generated billions of dollars to promote corn, dairy, beef, pork, and other ag products. We get more in this Sentinel Iowa News Service collaboration.
The first voluntary ag checkoff program for U.S. producers was formed in 1966 by the Cotton Board. Congress formalized it 30 years later. University of Iowa ag economist Sylvia Secchi says the U.S. Department of Agriculture program tends to fund research at large institutions that don't really help Iowa's small family farmers.
You're the kind of farmer who is doing a lot to promote soil health on their farm, or who is really concerned about animal welfare and things like that.
Project 2025, which is considered a blueprint for the Trump administration's agenda, has labeled the checkoff programs as among the most egregious run by the USDA. Small farmers are pushing for policymakers to rework checkoffs so the funds are directed to smaller producers. I'm Mark Moran.
Meantime, a documentary takes a deep dive into the Illinois Prisoner Review Board through one man's fight for a second chance.
In Their Hands follows the life of Ronnie Carrasquillo, who was charged with murdering a plainclothes Chicago police officer in 1976. He was 18 years old when a judge sentenced him to 200 to 600 years in prison. Despite earning a bachelor's degree in theology and creating a committee with other prisoners focused on education and rehabilitation, Carrasquillo was denied parole more than 30 times.
Every year I went to the pro board. They said, you're the same guy. You're still the same gang kid. You're still the same gang leader. So they can evolve, but they want to marginalize me and hold me in that position that you're still this. So I used to say, I'm the oldest 18-year-old that you know.
Carrasquillo spent nearly 50 years in prison before finally being released at age 65 in 2023. I'm Judith Ruiz-Branch reporting.
And finally, our Danielle Smith reports Tennessee is emerging as a key hub for global nuclear energy innovation, with recent investments in the state and a commitment for the governor to expand nuclear.
Backed by the Tennessee Nuclear Energy Fund, East Tennessee is attracting global industry leaders such as Kairos, X Energy, and Orno. Curtis Roberts with Orno USA says the state's largest ever investment in Oak Ridge will play a critical role in meeting the nation's growing energy demands, provide energy security, and economic opportunities.
For this facility, more than 300 folks are going to be hired by this facility. We're going to become a very strong employer for the area, and we always watch out for our employees. It's always safety first.
This is Mike Clifford for Public News Service, member and listener supported. Hear us on radio stations big and small, your favorite podcast platform. Find our content and trust indicators at publicnewsservice.org.
It's 8:20.
This is KCHW 102.7.
All right now. Come on, boy. Yeah. Good boy. Yeah.
You know what? Welcome back to the KCHW Morning
Yeah,
Show.
there was.
forgot
I
to turn
was
the
right.
microphones up.
Right.
There was no sound. No wonder there's no subtitles, because I had the microphones off.
Okay.
So we just had a moment of silence there. We took
Thank
a
you,
moment of
Carrie.
silence for all the cameras that have died in here this morning.
I'm thankful for that somebody acknowledges that I was right.
Thank you, thank you,
You
thank
were
you.
right, Sharon. You were right.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing me arguing with you about it. It wasn't airing on the air. Wow, wow. Thank you, Carrie, for that. Appreciate it. So anyway, welcome back. We are back here with myself, Chuck Ritchie, Sharon Ludwig, Paula Randall, and our special guest today, Patrick Farneman. He's got the between the two rivers, right?
Between the rivers.
Between the rivers. Thank you. Coming up very soon, and he's here to talk about it. Good morning, Patrick. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Outstanding. Can I get you to get just a little closer to that mic there?
There
You
you
bet.
go.
Yeah, you can pull it to you too if that works easier, so you don't have to lean so far forward. Yeah, these mics you got to get. You pretty much have to have the microphone in your mouth. So yeah,
Sounds comfortable.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
super comfortable.
That's much better.
Yeah, perfect. So good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for coming. Sorry again, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. We can't get your beautiful face on camera this morning.
Like I said earlier, it's a face for radio. We're all safe.
Yes, well, so you have Between the Rivers coming up soon, and this is an annual event.
Yes.
And this is, so I moved here in 2017. You've been doing this for quite a while, right?
We had our first Between the Rivers gathering in 2012.
Okay.
We took 1 year off when everybody took a year off. So this year will be our 12th year, I believe. So yeah, we've been doing it for a while.
Well, yeah, even when I came here, it was a thing that we had, that preceded us coming here. We'd already heard about it, and like, oh, that's the place where they do that really cool thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we'd heard about it before, traveling through the area, and we'd spent a bit of time in Elk and Newport and that kind of stuff. So my folks are down the Tri-Cities, so we spent a lot of time in the area before we moved here. And it was a thing that we had heard about from just traveling around the U.S. That, oh, there's this really cool thing happening in Eastern Washington.
Oh, my goodness. I'm really glad to hear that the word had gotten out. We are one of about 20 different gatherings of this type around the country. There are a couple scattered throughout the rest of the world. But, there aren't a lot of events like this, but each region seems to have one by now. I've been attending these since when there was only one or two in the country.
Wow.
In the 90s, you could go to Rabbit Stick Rendezvous in southeast Idaho, hosted by Backtracks and David Westcott, or Winter Count, or there were a couple back east, Falling Leaves and River Cane. But there weren't a whole lot of them, and there weren't a whole lot of people learning these skills and keeping them alive back then. This has been a movement that's been growing, and shortly after we moved to this region, almost 20 years ago, we founded Bridges to the Past, our nonprofit organization, and then a few years later, we began having Between the Rivers.
Okay, so
That's very cool.
You're talking about skills that people are losing. What type of skills are we talking about?
We're talking about any type of skills that helped humans live in their environments from the Stone Age all the way up to like modern homesteading. So how to identify and gather and prepare foods, how to build fire. Matches haven't really been a thing for much of human history. We built fire other ways for centuries, and what we do is we teach those methods back. We keep them alive and we teach them to others.
So basically stuff you can't do on the internet.
Well, you can show it on the internet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, and this is cool because, again, the internet, modern conveniences, and there's no guarantee these things are going to be around forever. And if we end up, if something happens and we end up having to survive, if you get stuck in a situation where you need to survive.
I'm going to Patrick's house if I get stuck.
Right?
Well, no, I'm teaching these skills so you can stay home.
Oh, okay.
I'll be at my house. Why want you to stay home?
I think it's really important. I don't think it is really important to keep these skills alive because, we still need them regardless of whatever modern conveniences we have, whatever technology we have. These skills are still a thing that we're losing them, and they're so important because they're really basic survival skills.
They are. They're basic living skills. And we don't focus on any one culture or region.
Mm-hmm.
We focus on the universal skills that are common to our shared human heritage.
Mm-hmm.
They're the skills that everybody has needed to be able to stay alive, be able to work with fibers, make clothing, make containers to haul our stuff around, learn how to recognize tools wherever you find them, how to make simple tools and use them. It's important stuff.
And this is stuff. What you probably have the numbers on this more than I could just pull out of thin air. But what percentage of human history has lived like this roughly? I mean, we've got our modern technology, but it's
Most
just
of
a
it.
sliver.
Most of it.
I mean, I would say it's probably underestimating 99% of human history has relied on these survival skills that we've just, within a couple generations, lost.
Yes, yes.
So-
we as humans, we have a short memory. Once we've had a couple of generations born, we forget how it used to be. I personally knew people who were born in the horse and buggy days, and before electricity and plumbing was a thing indoors.
Yeah.
But I've had those conveniences my whole life,
Right.
and so to me, they've always been here. But I think we lose sight of how fragile our electric and modern environment is. This set of conveniences, it could go down in a heartbeat. However, one thing I want to bring up is we are not a fear-based organization.
Right.
We don't focus on, oh my gosh, prep for what if. We focus on learning and keeping these skills alive for what it can teach us,
Right.
and to help remove fear of the future.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
You don't have to fear what you're prepared for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love that. Well, and like it's just, like these are basic survival skills. It doesn't have to be based in fear, but it's important to just know this stuff, I think.
Absolutely.
I grew up, I haven't done anything quite like that, but I've taken a lot of, growing up in Alaska, outdoor and winter survival was a huge part of just our high school curriculum.
Yeah, it's how you live.
Yeah. Yeah. And we had it's rural Alaska, I say, but it's still just as modern as any other place you could live. But it was really instilled on us growing up, a lot of the native cultures, that we, the people we went to school with, a lot of that they were courses that were offered through our schools. They were things that were taught to us growing up. And it's an interesting thing to move away and see there's a lot of the school systems and the cultures in the rest of the United States that don't teach or talk about any of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting sort of dichotomy between the cultures of where you grow up.
Absolutely. And what it kind of says is homes have lost sight of that. We either don't have time or we don't have the knowledge to teach those skills anymore.
Right.
If you ask people where food comes from, most of them will tell you it comes from the grocery store.
Yeah.
And if they saw a chicken running around, they wouldn't look at that and go, "Oh, yum."
Right.
You need to be able to understand where your food comes from, and then how easy it is to take it from that state and make it food.
Right.
It's not hard. It's not rocket surgery. It's very basic things. How to use a knife, how to keep a good edge on it, how to make a sharp edge from stone if you don't have a knife.
I don't know, plucking a chicken, they squawk an awful lot.
I think you kill it.
That says a lot about you.
Poor chicken. Yeah. There's a dark side there. You don't want to explore it. Wow.
This is awesome. I love it. I'm going through your website and I'm just looking at all the instructors that participate. So tell us some of the skills specifically that you really focus on during the Between the Rivers.
So that's a difficult question because I'm going to talk a little bit about where we came from.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we founded as an organization in 2008, and for a couple of years in the time that I had, I was teaching individual workshops and things, and you had to do a lot of promotion, a lot of organization to be able to pull off these individual workshops, and the attendance was good, but you're still working with a very small group. Well, based on this model of gatherings that was really introduced by David Westcott back in the late 80s, early 90s, we realized that it was going to be more advantageous to bring in a lot of instructors for a period of time, say a week, and then bring all the students in and camp together. So it's really an extended workshop format. Well, we're to the point now where our total numbers for the week of Between the Rivers, which is, it always starts Memorial Day, that last Monday in May, and goes for the entire week, we have over 80 instructors for that week.
Wow.
And each one of them is teaching at least one, if not multiple subjects. And then we have several hundred students. Overall numbers, about 350 people for that week.
Wow.
And so it's kind of like college for all these old skills. So when we say it's like, what do you focus on? Well, with that many instructors coming from that many different backgrounds, and some of them we have all the way from people who live with their roaming animal herds all the way up to PhD archaeologists and that whole range of people in between teaching these skills.
Right.
And so, and it's not immediately obvious by looking at them which one is which. Right? So it's kind of like college for old skills.
I love that.
You come in, we have a meeting that announces all of the teachers and what they're teaching and when they're teaching. You take notes in what you might be interested in, and you start working out your schedule and meeting with your teachers. And by Monday afternoon, classes start and everybody is busy learning.
Yeah.
And, we try to at least provide basics plus.
Yeah.
So basics includes like cutting edge, fire, fibers, how to make string from sticks. Let's see, shelter, some foraging, things like that. How to work with the environment, how to work timber from a raw tree with just an axe, things like that. That was common knowledge a couple hundred years ago,
right?
And now most people don't know how to do that. You can come here and learn how to do that.
So it sounds like in the week you're not going to be able to get everything. So you want to kind of pick what's important to you.
There is no way you'd be able to do everything.
Yeah. So do you have a lot of repeat people that come back every year, and every year they pick different subjects? Or?
Absolutely. That's the best way. In fact, I encourage people to focus, pick what their focus may be each year, and really hone in on something they want to learn in depth, and then the next year come back and pick something else and learn that. So, if for example, if I wanted to come and learn how to make a wood self bow, a shooting bow for bow and arrow,
right?
I could come and take a course, the class for 3 or 4 days from Leaf, who is our instructor. He works for the Air Force Survival School, the SEER School. Wow. He comes every year and teaches bow making. I could spend most of the week with him, maybe take 1 or 2 other classes or a couple of discussions, but really that's what I would do. Or if I wanted to come and spend time with Eric Sheffield, our hide tanning instructor, and Kelly, and learn how to make buckskin from a raw deer hide, that's going to be an all-week class. Or you could hop around. You could learn beadwork here. You could make a small basket. You could learn how to break rocks and make sharp edges from, you name it. You could make candles with Emil and Raina. Learn how to sharpen a crosscut saw. All those old saws we see at garage sales?
Yeah.
They can be refurbished. They can be used.
Some of those are a lot better than the stuff you can buy in stores nowadays.
Never had a problem with those running out of gas.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I took a basket weaving class one time because I thought that would be fun. And we wove, and 6 hours later, I had this little basket, and I never wanted to do that again.
Wow.
So some of the stuff you might find out that it isn't something that's for you, but it's what a good place to learn all this stuff, to find out, to pick and choose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're humans. We have this myth of the rugged American individualist that does everything, and that's really interdependence and specialization is really more of a thing.
Right. It really is.
So if you look at peoples through time, they traveled in small groups, maybe 35 to 50 people.
Yep.
They would know each other intimately. They may only gather in larger groups once or twice a year, but for the rest of the year, they would travel in small bands, and they would have their specialties. Everybody could do a certain amount of everything, but each one would have a specialty that they could do that they seemed to take to and learn better than others. And so, okay, so Sharon's not our basket maker,
right?
No.
But you might be really good with food preparation, or you might be really good with, you name it, any other aspect of daily life.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's, a lot of the early human, that's like you said, they didn't do everything. They had people within their communities, even I know we've been doing a lot of talking about garden planting and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can't grow this. Then have people grow larger quantities of one thing that other people have a hard time getting to grow.
Absolutely.
And I think there's sort of a push right now, and I would love to see more of a push to sort of bring some of that back. You see a lot of communities that have community gardens, or even maybe not necessarily, we don't have a community garden in Chewelah, but like I said, we're working with a group of people to work with your own gardens and work together to sort of
cooperatively plant.
Yeah.
And harvest. And
Plant our
can
gardens as a group.
Exactly. And work on preservation, so more canning and more dehydration of the foods that we have it, and it lasts longer. It's not just going to go bad.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Knowing how to prepare the food and how to preserve it is just as important as knowing how to grow it and how to procure it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, and I think even culturally, I think, smaller, I really think we need to go back to smaller farm models, community, like we have our farmers market, community markets, that kind of stuff. I really think a lot of those skills have been lost by going to these huge,
mega stores,
mega farms and these big stores. And I think getting back to the basics, I think will help us through, you look at the price of groceries and all that. I think it'll help us get through a lot of that stuff.
I think everybody here in this studio can remember the trucker strike of the 70s.
Oh, I do.
And how fast the grocery stores emptied.
Yeah.
If our supply chains are long, they're vulnerable.
Yep.
So the more local you can go for your food, the better.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's food is pretty important. I don't like to go more than a day without eating.
It's pretty much the
It's
most important thing.
awful.
Yeah.
I love this. I think this is really neat. I know you mentioned something earlier. People don't know where their food comes from. And so for me, it's really important that I have to make peace with the fact that I'm eating a living animal. I have to make peace with the fact that there's a sacrifice that is happening so that I can go and have that chicken or that hamburger or whatever. So with our son, we would make a practice of going to a farm where we knew our meat was coming from. We made a practice of finding out where, if we could, it's not available everywhere, right?
Right.
So depending on where we were in the United States. But it's a big deal because, you do go up to young people nowadays and, where does your food come from? From the grocery store. And that connection with, see that cow? That's your cheeseburger right there. Do you see the eggs or
Well, that cheeseburger is pretty complex as well. It's got grains, it's got vegetables in it.
Yeah.
It's it's not just a slab of meat. It's a complex piece of food.
Yeah.
Even your hot pockets and your processed and frozen stuff in the grocery store is complex. There's a whole myriad of sources of that. Well, the more you know about where that comes from and how to prepare things, variety is the spice of life. That's
right.
We get bored with the same thing over and over.
Do.
So the more you know about that stuff, the more variety you can have in your diet, and it makes life a little more interesting.
Well, and a lot of that stuff, and I say that as a good thing, the more you know about where it came from, the less you want to eat it.
Well, I disagree. I have no problem. I have no problem with knowing where my food comes from.
Well, I mean, I'm talking some of the uber processed.
Oh, you mean
stuff.
some of the over processed?
Yeah, the
stuff.
over processed stuff. The more you find out about it, the less you want to eat it, and the more you want to go to real food.
Beware of food that will not spoil.
Right.
Exactly.
Real food goes bad.
Speaking of McDonald's, hello, Chuck.
I just go for the bathroom.
You know what I love, and I would love to be better at this, and I don't practice it as often as I should, but we here in the Pacific Northwest have a plethora of so much food that is available if we don't just make yards,
Yes.
right? In my backyard, there was a whole bunch of wood sorrel growing. We have our wonderful pine trees that make a wonderful vitamin C rich tea that you can have. Our dandelions, right? One of the most early food
Absolutely.
sources, eating those young dandelion leaves and making the tea. Every part of a dandelion is edible, right?
Yep.
We have our amazing, our maple tree, maple leaves are edible.
And the
you
seeds.
And you can make
the inner
wonderful
bark.
salads out of, your dandelion leaves. You have
make
your
sugar.
wood sorrel. You have your sheep sorrel. You have your plantain. I mean, there's so much available that
One of
you
the
could
best
just-
ones out there is stinging nettle.
Yes.
Super
yes.
nutritious, super good for
nutritious,
you.
Yeah.
It's one of the best.
Yeah.
You just got to be careful picking it.
Right?
Yeah,
well,
don't swallow the stingy part.
Well,
yet.
if you cook it
Yeah, you boil it,
quickly,
yeah.
you just fry it up in a pan like you would chard, and the sting goes away.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Or
I've
dry
never-
it.
I keep hearing that about. I've never actually tried stinging nettle.
It's great.
It's good. It's very earthy.
One of these days I should go.
You should. It's everywhere.
Not this year. I got too much stuff to do. Sorry.
No, it's amazing. Well, that's what's so fun. And so, as somebody who knows a lot of these, I really, I don't go out into my yard and pick them like I should. So what do you say? My big thing about going into my yard and picking it is I have dogs, and I know that the dogs and the local deer and the cats in the neighborhood and everybody's over, right, doing whatever in my yard. So it's like I don't want to pick the dandelions and the sorrel and things like that.
So there's an old adage. It says, "Drink upstream from the herd."
Right.
So I think your yard would fall right in that. If your yard has too much pollution, don't pick in your yard.
Yeah. So it's a good thing. Yeah.
I wouldn't pick at the park either.
No.
Right. Yeah.
Or keep your dog separated from your garden area.
Yeah.
Just because, yeah.
We're trying to let the dog pen come back to life. So we're walking in the yard that we don't normally. And I'm like, oh, that's going to have to.
So Patrick, what I want you to do is take us through the week. I mean, so you show up. I'm assuming this is not, and I've seen plenty of pictures. You don't have to get dressed up in old homeschool, old homesteading garb. You can wear whatever you. Yeah, tell us about what it's like to be there.
I'm going to back up real quick.
Okay.
If people want information about this, we have a website at betweentherriversgathering.com.
Perfect.
You can learn everything you need to know, and our tuition will go on sale for this year's gathering on April 1st.
Okay.
So if you're interested, all the information you need to know is on the website, and if you can't learn it from there, there are contact forms that you can use to be able to learn more.
Yeah.
So.
And do you have a limit of how many people can come?
We do. In the last couple of years, our tuitions have sold out pretty quickly. We've hit capacity within a week or two.
Wow.
Of opening registration. So there's a growing need, and we have people that come from all over the Western United States to be here. We're a small little place that nobody knows about, but we literally have some people come a couple thousand miles to be able to gather with us.
Yeah, I know you've talked about that in past years. That once it opens up the registration, it's pretty much you got to get on it.
You do.
I think I remember one year it was a couple weeks before, and I accosted you on the street or somewhere, and I was saying, hey, because I was thinking about going. I'm like, hey, you still got any spots left? And I think you actually laughed.
I may have, yeah. Yeah. When we first started, we were doing a lot of advertising, and it was, we were working hard to spread the word. And we hit a point, I think I call it critical mass, where just really word of mouth. And at that point, it almost became more difficult to limit it to a size that is workable, manageable.
Right.
If it gets too big, I think we could lose who we are as a group.
Yeah.
So we try to keep it to a size that is comfortable to attend and provides the maximum amount of instruction and community without getting too large.
Well, I think like that 350 number you've thrown out there, that seems like an appropriate size, because that probably would have been, before our current technology, that probably would have been about the size of a lot of these communities that would have to, live off the land.
Possibly,
and,
yeah.
And that to me feels like a large group. You're not going to meet everybody. You're not going to get to know everybody, but it's still small enough to where, like you said, you're not going to lose the feel of it. It's still going to feel like a community.
We have probably 2/3 of our people each year are returning, both instructors and students. And there are families who plan their vacations to come and spend the week with us.
Oh, yeah.
So you had asked about what does the week look like?
Yes.
By Thursday or Friday, the weekend before that Memorial Day weekend, we're starting to set camp. And this is on our campus up behind Valley School District. So we begin to set camp up, and like you mentioned, there is no time period. This is not a reenactment. It's it's a workshop. It's an educational opportunity. But we set up a certain amount of infrastructure to be able to meet and teach classes and do what we need and let everybody do their thing. On Monday morning, we gather up. The instructors pull out all their cool things. People can walk around and look at all the show and tell, decide what they might be interested in. And by I think 10 in the morning, we have a large meeting with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a large tent-type structure. We call it the Sky Lodge. It's about 50 feet in diameter and 20 feet high, and we can pretty much get our whole group under it to be able to talk and meet.
Yeah.
And that's where we introduce what's going to happen, and we end up introducing all of our instructors one at a time and letting them tell about what they teach and when and where. And people take notes and figure out what they want to do. And we all split up about noon, grab some lunch, and by 1 o'clock classes start. So from that point on, every day we feed 2 meals a day. We do breakfast and dinner. And from that time on, people just keep track of what time's what. We circle. Meals are at 8 in the morning and 6 in the evening. We blow a horn to let everybody know that's what time it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they all come running with their dishes and eat, and we all eat as a group.
Nice.
Which brings people together. You know, groups that eat together get bonded.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And there are homegrown evening activities. There's music. There's trading. There's Thursday night during the week. We have Scottish Highland games.
Nice.
Which is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Toss some cavers.
I was just going to say.
Caber toss, rock toss, kilt race. Yeah,
nice.
The works.
Nice.
And, it's all for fun and games. The only thing you win are bragging rights.
That's awesome.
But it's a lot of, you have to kilt up to be able to play.
That's all a good Scotsman needs, of bragging rights, right?
That's right, yeah.
That's what it's all about.
But throughout the week, the focus is the classes. So every morning after breakfast, we do a brief announcements, introduce any new instructors that may have wandered in, and any changes in classes. We have a bulletin board where the whole schedule is posted, and people can look through all the classes available. If they don't have something scheduled and they want to do something, they can go to the board, look at what's available, go find that instructor, and see if there's room in a class and learn things.
Very, very cool.
We have kids programs. We break them into 3 different ages. We have our little kids. We have the 8 to 12, and then we have teenagers, and we have people who run those programs as well. So the kids have something to do that's a little bit separate from the adults, and more geared for their age and attention span.
So do you get a lot of kids coming? Do you get a lot of?
We have a
all
lot
ages?
of kids coming.
Nice.
Yes, but accompanied by adults.
Of course.
This is the thing. It's not summer
yeah.
camp. It's not send your kid off and disappear. It's come with your child and get involved and learn things together.
That's what a great experience as a kid, and I can't even imagine the value of the life lessons they're going to learn there.
It's life changing. We have raised our children at these events, and it's something that they still all participate in, and are beginning to raise their children at these events, and it becomes a part of who you are, and it expands your world.
Yep.
So,
and I think most of the people around here will agree with me. You have a wonderful family. Your kids are just amazing human beings. So a huge asset to the community.
Oh,
so,
thank you very much.
Yeah,
That's
not
very
just
kind.
trying to butter you up. Your kids are cool, man.
I appreciate that. I love the individuals they have become.
Yeah. Yep. So back to something that I care about. What kind of food is served during the week?
Good food, basic food. It's stuff we can feed groups. Breakfast is pretty simple. There'll be, some hot cereal, fruit, things like that. Maybe a boiled egg. We don't do a real big breakfast, but it is breakfast. Dinners. Let me think. We do things like you would feed a family reunion with. We do a taco night. We have some curry. We have whatever. I bring in a cook, and there is a crew that helps out there. That they're work traders. They trade part of their tuition as their labor in the kitchen.
Nice. So
we do have a kitchen that can feed the entire group, get the entire group from start to finish dished up in about 15 minutes.
Nice.
Wow.
It's very efficient.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask, have you ever had I don't even know if you would allow it in, but like a documentary crew or anybody that documents the stuff, maybe make a film about it.
We have not at our gathering. There have been film crews at other gatherings that I've been to. And I think it's a neat thing. I would allow that.
Yeah.
Given the right circumstances. We're not necessarily on display, but we're about educating people and helping people learn, and that's one of the ways we can gain exposure.
Exactly.
We do have a short video on our website, on the homepage of our website that links to YouTube, and you can see kind of an overview. It was filmed a number of years ago on our old site, but it really still captures who we are and what we're about.
Very cool. And I was going to ask too, as far as the experience, I know you got to go here in a few minutes. Things like cell phones, that kind of stuff. Do you allow those there, or I'm assuming they probably don't work anyway. But
we are in one of those magic little no cell service holes in our campus. We have one place you can get a message out. We call that reception ridge.
Yeah.
And any time of day, you'll see people milling around up there. But other than that, it turns into a glorified camera and note-taking device.
Very cool. So tell all your friends before you go, I'll see you in a week.
Right.
That's right. Exactly. I'm off grid. See you in a week.
Yeah, I remember my first cell phone, and I had to go stand by the apple tree to be able to get to talk to my mother in Utah. She, and in the winter I'm out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is kind of a nice. I'm one of those people. I'm hopelessly addicted to my phone. I'm always checking my schedule, checking my email, almost like a nervous tick. But occasionally when you get the opportunity to just turn it off, it's nice. You can take a breath and just kind of everything around you feels a little different.
I think everybody needs the experience of living for a week or so without that 60-cycle hum in the walls and without relying on electronic devices.
Yep.
Go stare at a fire for a while. It's mesmerizing.
Oh, yeah.
It's healing.
It is.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things on the planet to do.
Absolutely.
Sit and stare in the fire.
We're hardwired for it.
My parents, even as a kid, my parents are like, "What are you doing? Why don't you get up and do?" I'm like, I am doing something. I'm staring at the fire.
Yeah, something that people have done for centuries, ever since we were able to control it.
Yeah. I've been obsessed. Not in a bad way, but
right.
Since I was a kid, I can't get away from it.
I'm having so much fun going through the pictures on your website. I'm just over here like, ooh, I want to do that and that.
So, Patrick, I know you need to go. You have an appointment you got to get to.
I do.
Is there anything else you want to let us know before you head out?
I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to be here and talk about that part of my life. And I hope that, those of you who are interested will reach out and become involved. This is not something we want to keep secret. And, like a friend of mine always says, if I don't see you in the future, we'll see you in the pasture.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
That is awesome. And again, registration is at www.betweentherriversgathering.com.
There you
so
go.
make sure to go and check out that website. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Patrick.
Thank you
and
for having me.
One of these years, it's my goal to make it out there. So
sounds good.
Yeah, I would definitely love to. I know you probably don't do work trade for radio broadcasting straight from the thing. But
we don't discriminate. We even take radio broadcasters.
You probably wouldn't be able to get a signal out there enough to do anything live out there anyway. But
possibly not.
I would probably not want to do that anyway.
We would have to set you up on reception rigs. You'd be all by yourself.
I would if I did.
Like,
I
hey,
wouldn't want to. I would want to just go and enjoy. I'll let you go.
Thank you, guys.
Patrick. Have a great one. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
These pictures, these pictures are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Later, Patrick.
Care.
Thank you. All right, that was Patrick Farneman talking about between the rivers. Again, yeah, really, just an amazing thing. I wasn't kidding when I first moved here. That was one of the first things we knew about that before we got here, and it was one of my life goals is to make it out there. I still haven't done it.
Yeah, you need to make that. You need to get out there.
The 1 year I was ready, like I said, tickets were sold out, but or tickets admission. I'm not really sure. I don't think that's a ticketed thing, but.
Well, it's really cool because I am very interested in learning how to make cordage. You can make cordage and make rope out of iris stalks, out of dandelions, out of things that you wouldn't normally think that you can make cordage out of. And then you use that for making baskets or making macrame hangings or whatever you want to. You can make cordage out of so many different things. And I have gone to the trouble of saving plants and hanging them and drying them. And then I just stare at them and go, what now? And I know that there's YouTubes and there's all kinds of things out there, but sometimes you just need that one-to-one interaction for somebody to say, okay, now you take him down and, you pound them. I'm always like, well, if I pound them, they're going to disintegrate because they're dried. So there's a magical step between drying your fibers and then, you have to pound them to make them fibrous. So there's like a...
There's a process.
Yeah.
Kind of like my house. I get a plant and then it dries out and it dies and it gets crispy.
There you go. And now you can make cordage out of that. And they have on here clay, making clay pots and drying them in front of the fire. That looks like you can make your own bow. I see people holding hides that they have worked on. There was a drum making. There's a bow and arrows guy. Look at this forge work that they're doing. I don't know what that is. What is that, Sharon?
I don't know. It looks like the lid of something, doesn't it? It's a piece of wood.
It's a piece of wood that they have carved. It's very interesting. So just all the skills. If you go to their website, they have a photo section, and you can look at some of the different years where they have gone and the events that they've had and the lessons and the community. They're singing over a fire. There's, everybody is engaged and completely just working together to do awesome stuff. Look, this must have been a dyeing class.
Yeah.
There's a clay class.
Dyeing fabrics?
Yeah.
I was like, you guys do those in the theater too, don't you?
Yeah, we learned how to,
Yeah, I love it. This is cool.
That, by the way, was my impersonation of the best death scene ever recorded on film.
Oh, there you go.
Paul Rubens dying in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Best death scene ever.
That was good. Oh, it's officially 9.
All right. Yeah, we got to get out of here. You guys have anything else you want to say before we get out?
Be good to each other. Have an awesome week. I'll talk to you on Friday.
Exactly. Awesome. So, yeah, and don't forget, you can stay tuned right here tonight from 6 to 8 p.m. with Music for the Mountain. 8 to 10 p.m. is Dirt Road Blues with our very own Dirt Road Doug McQuain live in the studio. Then from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m., we have Planetary Radio, Sea Change Radio, Echo Shock, Total, and Earth Date. And don't forget, tomorrow morning, myself and Scott will be here in the morning show. Then Friday, it's me, you, Paula, Craig, and we have a special musical guest. And I just have his name. He's a young man, I believe, from Deer Park, doing huge things in music. You'll have to tune in and be surprised because I know the young man's name. I even have his SoundCloud up on my phone right now. But I'll have to remember that. I should have had it up in front of me before I started doing this, but I do not.
It's been one of those days.
It's been the Wednesday. It's Wednesday of all Wednesdays.
Yeah,
Wednesday of Wednesdays.
And we pride ourselves in doing this.
Right?
We do. We do. We are good at having problems.
Bringing you the most okayest broadcast ever.
It's awesome.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to the KCHW Morning Show right here on KCHW 102.7 Northern Lights Public Radio.
All right.
There we go.
Come on.
We're getting lots of likes. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Yeah. Good morning, Craig, Daniel, Carrie. Thank you.
Good boy. Yeah.